If you haven't seen the prices of Commander Masters yet, well, they're kind of interesting. And I don't mean interesting in the sense that you draw your 5th land in a row, you look at it, you don't want your opponent to know you're completely so you say out loud, interesting. And not interesting in the way that Elon Musk applies to anything and everything, from conspiracy theory, right-wing dog whistles, through to scientific theory he doesn't understand with the word interesting, to make it look like he might know what's going on. The vacant. What I mean by interesting is absolutely dog and insane. Here in the UK, if you want to buy a draft box of Commander Masters, that's 24 packs, enough for 8 people to form a pod and play, oh well, it's going to cost you 330 quid. That's a cool £41 per person to play in an 8-person pod. That's £41 to draft at your local game store one evening in the week. That's almost a AAA game for one night of drafting. And of course, the booster box is 24 packs, not 36, so no spare packs for prizes. They're making you pay more and you're getting less. Set boosters, the ones designed not to be played and just to be opened, it's a cool £390 for a booster box of 24. I literally just paused to tell the editor that I think I've said the wrong number, and I had to look it up again. It is 390. I couldn't fucking believe the script that I'd written. And beyond that, if you want your eyes to roll into the back of your head as you take fucking psychic damage, have you seen the price of collector boosters? One collector booster box is 214 English pounds. What is going on? Did that hurt? Did that cause pain in the pit of your stomach and in the wallet in your pocket? Well, some of you are going to say, but Vince, hang on, weren't collector boosters for Lord of the Rings £35 each? You're right, but for Lord of the Rings there were 12 packs per booster box. But for this set there's 4 boosters per box. That's right, dear viewer, £214 gets you 4 packs. That's 50 English pounds per booster. If you try to explain this to whales from other games or Pokemon collectors, as I have recently, they just won't get it. They think it's insane that Magic players will pay £50 a booster. And to be quite frank, it fucking is. But wait, there's more. Commander Masters has pre-constructed decks in it. 100 cards singled in Commander decks, which are currently pre-ordering on Amazon for £83 each. Or you can get all 4 of them for online retailers in the UK for a cool 300 quid for the lot. What the fuck is going on? In the interest of journalistic integrity and to be fair to Wizards of the Coast and the product itself, each booster pack is 20 cards, not 15 like a normal set, and each booster pack has 2 to 3 rares in it as well, in the old double master situation. So in essence, they're printing a little bit more cardboard and charging you 3, 4, or in some cases 5 times the amount you would have done for a normal, non-premium set. So they are charging us some of the most expensive prices we've ever seen for sealed Magic the Gathering product, which I think is playing with fire, honestly. There's only so far you can push your audience. And the reason they're doing that is because the title Masters. Masters sets come with a premium price tag. They have since the original one, Modern Masters, with the intent of making it feel premium and thus allowing you to charge your audience more money because they buy into that narrative. The funny thing about Masters up until more recently though is that they don't actually have any new cards in them. Original Masters and Modern Masters 2 and Modern Masters 3 had all old cards in them, so did Eternal Masters, Iconic Masters, and they had newer art as time went on. They had a few in the first one and more as the Master sets progressed. Now we have new frame treatments, different card borders and new art, so there's more production going into it. But what you got to remember is the actual development of this set is a lot lower than it would be for, say, a normal draftable set, which is a lower price, or Doctor Who or Warhammer or whatever, where they have to design completely new cards. That said, the Commander products that are coming for this do have new cards in them, and that's what the topic of today's video is about. In today's video, I not only want to highlight how fucking ludicrously expensive all this shit is, but also bring up the ongoing long-term effects of products like this on staples and secondary market hot items. If Great Henge and Dockside Extortionists can get to these prices for non-premium sets, what does a set like this have in store for us for inflated secondary market staples? I want to talk about the monster in the making, the premium staples we're going to see out of this set and how much they're going to cost the average player going forward. But first, if you're looking to pick up a single product or sealed, whether it be for this ludicrously priced set or any other set, pre-ordering Wilds of Eldraine or singles for your Commander deck, use the link in the description below to buy from CoolStuffInc.com or the code Kenobi at checkout at 5% off your order and to help support the show. Right, let's talk about Dockside motherfucking Extortionist, shall we? This bastard Goblin treasure maker is the closest thing we have to an auto-include in any red deck in Commander. Now, every time I say this, someone in the comments has something to say about this.
But Vince, in low-powered games, people don't use artifacts and enchantments as much.
And they say this from the back of the theatre, from the back of the auditorium, from the peanut gallery where you there sit, dear reader, and they're clutching in one hand a Soul Ring and in the other an Arcane Signet, because they all play the fucking mana rocks that we all play. Your Mind Stones, your Mana Crypts if you happen to own one or have opened one. They'll be playing your Sylvan Libraries, your Smothering Tides, your Descent into Avernuses. They'll be playing all the staple artifacts and enchantments that all Commander decks are playing, because they're fucking good and we all play them, whether you are playing a CDH kill by turn 3 or a casual game that lasts 5 hours. Look, you can pretend that Dockside Extortionist isn't that good if you want, but if you do, I'm going to take the piss out of you over there, you silly little twat. A brief lesson on why Dockside is good, or how to suck eggs, you silly fool. Dockside enters the battlefield and makes a treasure for every artifact or enchantment in play under an opponent's control. This is usually anywhere from just a couple, refunding the mana you spent on the Goblin itself, to a dozen, breaking the game and pushing you far ahead. The reason it's so good is because the old adage of just run more interaction or it dies to removal doesn't really work. Because if you kill the Goblin body, it still leaves behind the lingering fart, the shit-stained smear of a shard across the battlefield that is a plethora, a fuck ton of treasures. Counter magic is good, of course, but not everyone wants to be the cunt that's playing blue all the time. But beyond that, it's a 2-mana creature. You can recur it, you can flicker it, you can bounce it, you can double it, enter the battlefield trigger, you can boil it, mash it, you can stick it up your ass. The point is, it's so versatile in being able to be copied and recurred and reused that it's fucking good. Anyway, now that I've taught you how to tie your shoelaces, let's talk about why I'm talking about Dockside Extortionist in relation to Commander Masters. Well, there's 2 reasons. Number 1, it might get reprinted in Commander Masters. Dockside Extortionist was originally in the Commander 2019 precons and was an immediate oh shit moment for most people as they realised, oh boy, this card is good. It then didn't really see a reprint for like 2 to 3 years. We had the pandemic in that time as well, and it showed up in Double Masters. It was actually absent from, say, Commander Legends 2 and Electric Boogaloo, where it could have been a little goblin pirate on the docks of Baldur's Gate, but they decided they didn't want to do that. And the reason for that is this little thing called reprint equity. I mispronounced that, but hopefully it's on screen now. Reprint equity. Reprint equity is a term mostly popularised by Saffron Oliver of MTG Goldfish, talking about how Wizards like to utilise the expensive cards of older sets and utilise the expensive cards on the secondary market to entice people to buy into new sets. So when they release the marketing for Commander Masters, and to age this video, we are recording this about a week before previews start, and it should hopefully be up on the channel before previews start, but they will preview and show off lots of reprints of valuable cards that we all want, so we'll buy the packs and open them. It's reprint equity. If they crash the price wholesale of every card in Magic, they would have no reprint equity. They would not have a well to return to. They would not have a resource to pull from to make their next product marketable to the audience. When they go ahead and make new powerful super staples, Dockside Extortionist here, or Deflecting Swat and other Commander products, or any of the super staples we saw for Modern, Legacy and Commander through the Horizons product line, those things are the invention and creation of new reprint equity. But they're doing that through the erosion of the legacy of the game by power creeping old cards. There is nothing that quite does what Dockside does, but Murktide Region is just a power crept, ridiculously powerful, rare, that is better than pretty much everything else. It makes the old the Tombstalker look like dog shit. This is power creep to create a new staple. The Monkey, Ragavan, is probably the best example of this, where it's just better than any other red 1-drop has ever been fucking made, or any 1-drop for that matter. It's one of the best up there, that and Deathwatch Shaman, right? I've done a whole video on that fucking thing. Power creep to create new staples, to create new equity. So what they then do is they measure out how they reprint things. Shocklands, that's one of them. Fetchlands, that's another one. It took them a long time to get them down to the price they're at now, where they're sub $20 each. By the way, you should be buying Fetchlands right now. They're real cheap if you want original cards. So they didn't reprint Dockside Extortionist and multiple products that could have had it, multiple reprint products and the new products like Commander Legends, because they wanted to keep the price high to use it in Double Masters. And now we should see it reprinted in Commander Masters, but there's a small chance they don't, and they hold it out to be some stored equity for a future set. Because as they reprint things that go down in price and the equity is lowered in a sense, then you have to wait for them to climb back up to make them desirable, to make them chase rares again. But Commander Masters is already being sold to you off the back of premium versions of Selvala or Jeweled Lotus, other chase rares that were created from the Legends products or the Conspiracy products back in the day. And that brings me to point 2, is that we have new cards. Every Commander product has a couple of cards that are pushed, you know, with the idea of them becoming staples in Commander or perhaps even Legacy or not Modern. But we see this with every single set, right? But with Master sets, you don't see it as much. You see either things being reprinted or not. Normally it's a binary. You are either reprinting stuff pulling from that well, pulling from that resource, or you aren't. For example, the fetch lands being missing from Commander's Masters 1 and, Commander Masters, being missing from Modern Masters 1 and 2, but then appearing in 3, finally, after much demand and excitement from people like me. But with the addition of the Commander products that are going to have new cards in them, I'm not exactly sure how many new cards, but all the face cards are new, for example, and I'm assuming there'll be a handful of new cards within the decks themselves. With the addition of that to this particular product, we're going to see some new cards. And some of those cards are going to be really fucking good. Both Deflecting SWAT and Fierce Guardianship of upwards of $45 at the moment. These were in precons much like Dockside Extortionist was back in 2020. There will be something like this in the Commander Masters product. Masters sets and Horizon sets and these new sets like this, they can push the power level a little bit, right? Because it's not going to standard and it's a premium set. And with premium comes the idea of power in a way. So what's going to happen to cards that are printed like Deflecting SWAT, like Fierce Guardianship and like Dockside Extortionist, but into a set where the product is worth or being sold to you at twice the fucking price? Dockside Extortionist came in a Commander deck that was $40. These are coming in decks that are $80, $90, maybe after they get revealed, they might even spike to $100 each. And master sets, in addition to that, are often not just reprinted en masse and to demand. They're often 1 or 2 print runs and done. Master sets run out and begin to climb up and demand a premium price. Most of them, not all of them, as time goes on, as we've seen in the past. Is that the case here? I don't think we actually know, and it's not been said by Wizards yet. But if that is the case, any powerful super staple they print or create in these Commander products is going to be worth 50%, 100%, maybe 150% of what a Dockside or a Deflecting SWAT is. Now, there's a whole other kettle of fish here in the sense that if they stopped printing these fucking cards and not aiming to create power crept super staples for Commander, we wouldn't have this issue. But of course, that sells product, it drives hype, and it creates equity they can mine later on. Deflecting SWAT and Dockside Extortionist will be things that drive people to open packs of Commander Masters to try and get these staples for their decks. It makes sense from a money and business perspective to do this, even if a lot of people, at least the vocal people like myself online, think that printing into Commander directly has actually been quite a big detriment to an extent. Now, there's one other caveat to all this, is that because there's a booster product, there's a good chance that the cards that are in the Commander deck will show up with alternate treatments or just themselves in the collector booster product. In recent time, cards that show up in the Commander products for Nuka Penna, for example, or Kamigawa, will then show up in the collector boosters, but they can show up in full art framed or different foil treatment and similar. So there are other places that within this product range, you will see that card. It's not just going to be in the precons, and once the precons are sold out, there's no more of them. There will be some floating around in boosters. But then those boosters are worth, or I say worth, no, they're not, let's not use the word worth. Those boosters are being sold to you for £50 fucking pounds. So how much will that really bring the price of these down? What I'm saying is there are Commander staples that will demand a price tag because they want to be played in pretty much every deck that they can fit into. And there'll be more of those over time. And the more that they get put into premium priced products like this, the more ludicrously expensive they'll get. Dockside is but the tip of the iceberg in many ways. But really, what does that matter if we are just all proxy friendly? I think everyone should proxy their decks. Not everything, but like if I own one Dockside, I own one real Dockside, I play it in 4 different Commander decks. 3 of those are proxies. 2 of them are by proxy artists. 1 of them I think is just the word Dockside Extortionist written onto the back of an art card and slid into a sleeve. I don't give a fuck. But then we get to the situation where we all start mass adopting proxying, which I think we should do to collectively allow everyone to play with all the toys and not make it a battle of wallets, but a battle of skill and mentality and attitude and problem solving and what Magic should be. It shouldn't be about the money in your pocket. But then at that point, maybe all the new players coming into Commander just start proxying all over the shop. Proxy artists become a very good way of getting hold of stuff for much, much cheaper. At that point, you are going to damage the ability to go to this well and take the reprint equity and put it into a product to sell to the consumer because everyone's just fucking proxying. That's an explosion right there. I think Wizards of the Coast need to be very careful with pushing the pricing problem that Wizards have created in Magic further and further, because we have a pricing problem. The game is perceived as far more expensive than any other card game going, perhaps, besides Flesh and Blood. There's an argument that Flesh and Blood might be cheaper in some ways if you start to really weigh it up. It's not good to be one of the big boys, but also be perceived to be a rich boys club as well. That fucking sucks. Magic should be for everyone. It's the greatest game ever made. It shouldn't feel exclusatory or gatekeeper simply because some cards cost £50 or £100. I am pro proxy, but I also like owning the originals. And I think the original cards shouldn't cost £50 fucking pounds. Art versions and chase rare variants, the chase rare dockside, you know, some sort of alternate foil, texture foil, that should be £50, £60, £100. But the original docksides should be no more than £10. That's how I feel for every Magic card ever made. But what do you think? Am I barking up the wrong tree, or am I just a herald of the coming apocalypse and you can see it all forming in the leaves, forming in the ether, thanks to the words coming out of my bearded mouth? Let me know in the comment section below. I've been Vince, also known as PleasantKenobi on the internet. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Ta-ta for now.